like all the spotlight and all the glory, you know, and you know, he hasn't complained about that, and you know, so it's people like him that are inspiring me to keep on doing this one, you know, and completing it, and won't be proper if I don't get him up here to say a few words on his behalf. So, David, if you may.
Thank you, George. Never met a microphone I didn't like. I know, that's most of Oda's line. I have some people to thank, but first of all, I'd like to thank you, George, for those kind words. Sometimes it does feel like, you know, I'm in the back of the bus, but I'm actually driving the bus most of the time, so I guess George wouldn't get to where he's walking from if I didn't do that. So, this is probably the first time I've never seen the press present at one of our press conferences, so I guess this is not a press conference. And it is the beginning of a long weekend, and it's a beautiful day out there, and I guess they just decided to skip school. So my apologies to all of you who are expecting the press to be here. Sometimes, well, we never have any control over that, and we had, was it yesterday we were in the Vancouver Sun, or was it today? Today. So, you know, we've got another 17 press conferences to do in and around Vancouver Island, or Vancouver before we move on to Vancouver Island. So maybe they're saving the big guns till the Vancouver press conference, which is July the 9th. I had my liver transplant. Ironically, it was the day before George had his, even though we didn't know each other. And that was 6 years ago, and I was right down to my last few days when I had my transplant. And I've been very actively involved in other organ-related activities over the last 5 years, but I felt that I'd never really truly addressed the issue of the fact that I had received a liver from someone, and so when I heard about George's walk, I decided that I was going to help him out when he came to British Columbia, because I had a lot of contacts in some of my other work here in this province. And so when he phoned me, I was actually literally driving over the Oak Street Bridge when my cell phone went off, and it was George, and I had a picture of him, even though I'd never met him. I had a picture of him standing in the Calgary airport with no road crew and no way of getting from point A to point B. So I said, give me 5 days and I'll drop everything that I'm doing and I'll come out there. So that's what I did. And it has been a very incredible experience for me. Last year I was on chemotherapy, and I never went more than 10 blocks away from my home, and this year it's entirely different. It's living very largely from hotel to hotel and from restaurant to restaurant, and from press conference to press conference, and all of the work that entails is absolutely incredible. We have to take care of all the details from the road, from our hotel rooms. Sometimes George is literally sitting on the side of the highway with his book out and with his phone in it at his ear, and he's listening and talking and writing all at the same time, and then carrying on a few more steps, then the phone will go off, and there he goes. And we're doing this on a zero budget. It's incredible that we get the goodwill of a lot of people in each community that we go through, the hotels and the restaurants that provide for us, because we never have enough time to actually sit down and be somewhere where we can actually prepare a meal. And actually, both of us are pretty good cooks, but we never get the chance to express that, except for myself when I go back to Victoria, which is periodically I do. But I'd like to thank, first of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Joe Trasolini for allowing this to happen today. It's, thank you very much. Without a focus and a presence and your presence, this would not happen. I'd like like to thank Diane for her many conversations with George to enable this to happen as well. And I would like to thank, let me see now, I'd like to thank Bob Brown and Rick Nelson for walking with George. That was great, and I'm sure that you enjoyed the walk. I mean, how many times have you done that before? Yes, I know. I was in a police car yesterday, and I was reflecting on that myself. And I'd like to thank the two police officers, Constable Jennifer McCary, I believe, and Brian Souls. I don't know if he's corporal or sergeant or constable, but thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank Bob from Carambas, who is providing us with meals this afternoon. And also Len Berkowitz from the Poco Inn, who is providing us with accommodations for the weekend. And that really sort of puts a big problem out of the way for us, because when we arrived here this morning, we had nowhere to sleep tonight. And we actually have another person coming on board who's coming in from Kelowna this afternoon. And she's, you know, so we're going to have to change our accommodations a little bit, because we have a woman coming on board with us, and so it's going to make our workload a little bit easier, and it's probably going to change a few things as well. So thank you very much to Len, and Len is actually going to be present at our press conference in Port Coquitlam on Tuesday. So hopefully we'll have some press there after their long weekend, and maybe they'll be spending their long weekend at the Golden Spike Days, which is another thing. I'd like to thank the organizers of the Golden Spike Days for allowing us to come too, because part of our awareness program, a big part of our awareness program, is to provide people with organ donor cards. And George, we have to go to BC Transplant Society and pick up a bunch of cards this afternoon, by the way. So we're going to have to take a trip downtown and pick up some more cards. Otherwise, we're probably going to run out by tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We've given out thousands and thousands and thousands while we've been in British Columbia, and we want to give out thousands more. And actually, our plan in this area is to give out another 50,000. So to get back to what I was saying, an enormous debt of gratitude to those who are heroic enough to realize the necessity for donating their organs. It goes beyond words, and actually somebody called it spiritual recycling. That was at Nelson press conference when we were in Nelson back in April, and it's so true. It's more than information. It is a raising of consciousness, because people just don't really realize what it entails. And I do want to say, for those of you who may not be aware of this, but when you die, they don't do anything with your organs. They don't go with you, and if they're not there for other people to benefit from, where do they go? I ask you that question. I already know, but think about that. And so if anybody else would like to say a few words in wrapping this up, I welcome you to come up. Diane, would you like to say anything? Anybody else? Okay, great. Well, I want to just thank you all for being here, and I want to wish you all a happy, long July 1st. Is this July 1st? Yes. July 1st weekend. I hope we have some fireworks and all of that kind of stuff this weekend. I haven't even given it any thought.
No thought.
No?
No thought.
Not in Fort Moody.
Pardon? Not in?
Not in Fort Moody. There may be some elsewhere.
I see. Okay. So have a wonderful weekend, and thank you very much for coming out here.
I have a question.
Yes.
What did you mean when you said your organs don't go with you? Now you've got me thinking.
Yes.
Where do
well, they are just, they just discard them.
So when you die, they take out your organs and they dump them?
Mm-hmm.
How disgusting.
Well, that's the way everybody goes.